What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. Today, I'm bringing you guys a video I've had in the making for a couple months now, as I have been testing the DPVR E4 headset. And, this is a PCVR dedicated headset. It was sent to me by DPVR to review on the channel. So thank you to them for allowing me the opportunity to review this headset. And we are going to talk about all the good and the bad of this headset and kind of my final verdict on how I feel about it. So if you guys at the end of this are interested in checking out a DPVR E4, the link to buy one will be in the description. Use my code and it will help out the channel. But like I said, we are going to be talking about all the good and all the bad of this headset. So if you stick around for this, I think you will get a pretty in-depth, thorough review. Guys, with that being said, please do drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, all the stuff. I'm really close to 20,000, so hopefully we can get there, really soon. So it's going to be exciting times. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into the unboxing and presentation. So first here in this video, we're going to start with the unboxing and the presentation of this headset and really kind of how I felt as I was opening the headset, which honestly, really solid presentation. And I will give DPVR E4 here the credit of that. The box was nice and had that heavyweight feeling to it. The presentation was clean. Everything looked amazing coming out of the box, and just it looked exactly how you'd expect it. On top of that, their customer service was actually really good. Here, I had an experience where my first headset I got had an issue with it, and they immediately sent out a new headset. And then I also requested that there was a face piece interchange, because I felt like I could not actually give this headset a fair review with the face piece that came with it, and we're going to talk about that here shortly in the hardware section. But not only that, they wrote me a handwritten letter, they sent me a Christmas gift, and they even sent me a carrying case, as part of the review process, and it was a really nice case. So overall, the company itself is really, I think, going above and beyond, and they're pushing into this realm of being a good contender in the PCVR market. But we have to move on to the actual product and, some of the things that I have experienced with it. So that brings us into the hardware section of this video, where we're going to talk about the actual physical headset itself and the controller. So starting with the headset has a halo strap configuration. Therefore, if you don't know what a halo strap configuration is, it means that all the weight is kind of like on the halo of your head. So the front band goes on the head, and then you have the back band that tightens down. So the weight of the headset really isn't resting on your face. So that led DPVR to the decision of having a silicone face cover, which you guys can see on screen right now. So it's very flexible, and there is no padding at all to it. So it would kind of make sense, considering the weight of the headset is not supposed to be on your face. However, for me, and maybe it's just the way my head is, maybe I just have a weird shaped head, right? I could not get this to be comfortable with the silicone strap at all. So it kind of delayed the process of me making this video, because I got to the point where, in order for me to comfortably play with the headset, I had to have that thing resting on my nose, and the lenses were on my nose, and it was just definitely really uncomfortable for a significant period of time. Whenever I'd play for anything longer than an hour, my head was starting to hurt just because of the way the headset was fitting. So yes, comfort was definitely a level of importance, but I could not even get a third-party headpiece, because it's just, this company is niche. They don't have Amazon products out there. So you can make up for some of the Quest 3's flaws with these products, where I had to wait for DPVR to send me a face interface piece. And they did, which was really awesome of them, because, they really do care about their customers. I feel like that is one thing that this company is definitely standing out to me for. And I explained to them that I felt like the comfort level of the headset for me was very uncomfortable without the silicone, or with the silicone piece. So they sent me a face piece, a nice foam pad, and I since put it on, and that definitely solved some of the problem when it came to the uncomfortability. The other issue that I had when it came to comfort level was just, I had some issue with just kind of finding that sweet spot on the screens. And that was disappointing to me. I really had a hard time, I was constantly adjusting it back and forth, because I felt like the field of view is definitely not as big as I would have liked on this headset. I think it was supposed to be bigger, and it just kind of wasn't, and it might be because this foam piece, puts me a little bit further back from the lenses, but still, I felt like that was kind of something I was constantly adjusting it. Not because it was uncomfortable now. Like once I got the piece, it wasn't uncomfortable. It was just, I felt like there was times where like the lenses were just off, or like one side was like, I was seeing more blurry than the other side. So I was constantly adjusting it. But like when I did get it to fit in that sweet spot, it looked pretty good. So there was definitely some of that. But when it comes to comfort level, looking at this headset with the piece on, with the foam piece that I have now, it's definitely improved comfortability, but it's certainly not the most comfortable headset I've ever worn. One thing I did love about what they did with this thing is that, of course, it had inside-out tracking, so that's always great. No external base stations or anything like that. But it has a flip-up design so that if you need to access your phone or, go on your computer real quick, you can just flip the headset up. And this is actually super awesome. It works pretty good. You kind of have to bend it a little bit, like whenever you're putting it back down. But generally, I was able to do this pretty comfortably. And the transition from VR to real life was really easy with this headset compared to other headsets. And that was really nice because I play with gaming headphones on. Therefore, taking the whole entire process off is certainly, not fun. And I have to do that sometimes with the other VR headsets I have, where this one I can just flip it up. So that was definitely a really big positive. Moving on to the actual controllers themselves. I loved the controllers personally. I think that they actually were really good. Just really comfortable in my hands. I thought that the placement of the buttons was really good. My thumb could get to all the locations really, really nice on this. One thing I think that could be improved upon in the future would be the haptics. I thought the haptics were subpar. It didn't, it just didn't have that deep vibration feeling that, gives you a little extra immersion. But the comfortability of the controllers was definitely pretty noticeable. The only thing I'd love to see is that DPVR were to add a over-the-hand strap type configuration, like you can see with the Quest controller straps and stuff. I love playing like this. I think it adds so much immersion, and I've mentioned this to the company, and they said that they would certainly take it into consideration. So please do that, DPVR. I think it would definitely increase the comfortability of your hardware. But when it comes to, the overall feeling of the hardware of this thing, I think that, there's some room for improvement. I think comfortability wise is definitely, there's that sweet spot that I'm talking about whenever you get the lenses just right. I would like to see them improve upon that in the future, in their future headsets, just to make it feel like you can really get that spot a lot easier and you don't have to monkey with it a lot. Okay, now we have to talk about the software. This is an area that I feel, and when the DPVR team watches this video back and that, I want them to hear me out here, because I had a lot of issues with the software, and when it was working, it worked fine. I had no issues with it, but it was very clunky. And there was definitely times where it took me a long time to get into a VR session, and that's something that, the competitors in this space don't have that issue. I can get the headset on pretty quick and, get in there, where with this, I had definitely some challenges. And the first one being that when you set the headset up for the first time, like, you have to basically you have to do the room scale setup, and that's like a whole process, because the headset has to take a scan of the room. Sometimes it doesn't, it does not register that you want it to scan. So you have to restart the software like two or three times. You finally get it to start scanning. And then, it could be in the broad daylight with all the lights on in the room, and there's like just one corner that doesn't have that many lights. And then like it stop tracking whenever you have to, because you're trying to scan the whole room. It won't let you move on until you scan it. So you're sitting there, you're monkeying with it, you're ducking, you're looking around, you're trying to like slowly turn your head just to get like this one little corner of the room, so it finally registers the room, and then you can draw your boundary on the ground, right? So like, this is something I had to do over and over and over and over again. And like, there was times, like this one time I went to try to play, and I was, trying to get some gameplay, and it took me like literally a whole 8 minutes just to get a game started, because, I got into the software, I got the game running, and then I crashed. And then I had to restart the whole thing. And then, I had to restart the whole headset. And then I was monkeying pulling out the headset, from the DisplayPort cable and trying to get it to register power. And then it finally did. Then finally, I was able to, had to reset the whole headset to be able to go into. And this was like an experience that I had multiple times while trying to start VR games, or while trying to quit VR games. I found that there were some times where the whole headset would just crash, and I'd have to restart the whole software every time. So that is definitely something that needs to be improved upon, I think, in the future of these headsets. And again, not that this headset, when I got it working, it was working, and it worked. I got to see some smoothness that I, wasn't quite used to on my Quest platform. So when I did get it working, it was working. It just, there was some barriers to entry that I feel like could be improved upon for the customer experience. And that is definitely something that is there. Another issue that I have with the software, and I don't even want to say issue, but something that I would definitely like to see changed on future iterations of this headset would be the software to IPD adjustment. I did not really like this feature. I thought that this was, it was very hard to deal with, because if you had it wrong, the depth of everything in VR was off. And like, that's a hard thing to measure, right? Like the depth of things in VR. And when I play with a Meta Quest, connected to PC, like everything looks like it would look in real life. And I felt at times with this headset that, there was things that just the depth felt off. The distance of distant objects it looked flat screeny. It kind of looked a little screeny. And one of the times was literally because I had the IPD set wrong. So I changed the settings and then it looked better. But I kept finding myself throughout the games like, is that right? Is that right? I was always tampering with it because I couldn't just tell. And like, I feel like that's something that they should just leave to the hardware and not to software, because there's too much tampering with it. And then you're not even sure what is actually supposed to be at that point. So, and that's the other thing, is everybody's IPD is different. So now, everybody's monkeying the software the certain way. And then it's hard. There's no standard there for me. So I felt like that was something that, definitely could be improved upon in the software section of this video. But overall, when it comes to software, I definitely feel like this is an area that needs to be improved upon in the DPVR. And when I did get it running, I was able to run it on 120 hertz mode, 4K displays, which, again, when it was working, there were some really nice visuals. I was really able to see the smoothness of, game worlds that I hadn't really seen that smooth ever before while playing. But it was, there was also some fuzz at times where, a little bit of stutter. I felt like that I was definitely noticing, when I was running in 120 hertz mode. So, and that could possibly just be my CPU, but, I did feel like it might be software related on the DPVR side as well. But overall, when I did get the software working, I thought it was, pretty serviceable. And I got, a good experience whenever that, I actually had the software running the right way. I just think that there was a lot of things that could be improved upon in this section. So when it comes to our gameplay and what it actually feels like to play VR games on the DPVR E4, I think that this is kind of a toss-up based on the game you are playing. I felt like playing competitively in a game like Population 1, where there's a lot of movement and I'm swinging my head around a lot. I was pretty uncomfortable in this headset, just because the way it fits on my head. Now, I had, a different experience whenever I played some games that didn't require quite as much, quick turns and, head flingings. I definitely had a much better experience, as well as, some of these PCVR titles, exclusive PCVR titles that, have a hard time running on the MetaQuest platform. I had a good, smooth experience running some of them as well. I felt like the field of view in this headset could definitely be a little bit bigger. It feels small to me, and the way the screens are oriented, I feel like I said, the depth is a little bit off. So at times I felt myself questioning, whether I was seeing the game for what it was. And there was definitely some, consistent, I would go through like 30 seconds of just complete smooth, and then there'd be like 2 seconds of just like a little bit of frame drop, it felt like. And then that was pretty consistent throughout my experience. Not super noticeable, and like not something that would like break you out of the game or anything like that, but definitely present in my experience. And that was just, in almost every game that I played with it, I had that consistency. So it might be something, like I said, on the DPVR software side, but again, was it game breaking? No, it was not game breaking. It did not like take me out of any games or anything like that, but it definitely was a little bit noticeable. But overall, when it comes to, gameplay with this headset, I think that it was kind of, it has its moments. It has its moments where it's good and it has its moments where it's bad. And I think that's where I just kind of stand with it. I had some experiences that I would play again on the DPVR headset, and I had some experiences that I wouldn't play again on the DPVR E4. So it's kind of like, that's kind of just where I stand with it. And it's, the idea of this headset is supposed to be a PCVR only headset for PCVR enthusiasts. And That's great. And I think that's what the company is going for. And I am all for that. Like, I am a PCVR Maxis. So like, I am all for PCVR in the future, but I do think that if, PCVR is going to, stand a chance at fighting some of these bigger companies, the ease of getting into VR has to be important at this point. I think that, people wanting to monkey around with software and all that stuff a lot is just not the best thing for longevity. And I hope that in the future, DPVR E4 improves upon their software and gets that comfort level just a little bit right. I do think that the Fresnel lenses as well on this headset are a little outdated now that, everybody has been exposed to what pancake lenses look like. Pancake lenses are fantastic, and there is a serious visual difference just between pancake lenses and Fresnel lenses. So that also rolls into, here. We're going to move on to our verdict section here with the DPVR E4. My verdict. This is really hard for me because, this company has been nothing but amazing. They've sent me Christmas gifts. They have, been just great handling me. They seem like they really care about their customer a lot. And that is an amazing trait to have. And I do hope that they continue to build upon this foundation, because this is not the end for them. I think that a future headset can be really good with some of the newer tech that's going to be coming out or is already out, that the prices are coming down for, where they're going to be able to build an affordable PCVR headset. Because the DPVR E4 does some things well, but it does some other things not so well. And that was my experience with it. I felt like I had some good and some bad. And, I can't really say that this would be my one-stop shop, the best headset I've ever had. And, at that same time, like, if you're going to go ahead and you're going to purchase this headset, you just need to know what you're getting into. Like, it could be really good for like sim racing games or like flight simulator games where you want the smoothest possible, experience that you can get. But I've found that, the smoothness compared to like a Quest Link and a DPVR, like, it's not so huge that I wouldn't, that I would only recommend playing the DPVR. And that's just kind of where I stand on it. I think that, this headset has some drawbacks that you need to be aware of, but the company is really good. And then if you have some extra money to spend and you want to try out a dedicated PCVR headset that's not, a Valve Index, I would definitely, this would probably be the one. It's dedicated, it's got a DisplayPort cable. I know that my CPU holds me back from, being able to max res some games. So, there's that. There is some big room on this headset for visual clarity. And I think that is definitely a positive on their end. But overall, my verdict on this is kind of a mixed bag. And that's just really where I'm at with it. I think that the DPVR E4 does some good things and it does some not so good things. I think the comfort level can be improved. The software can certainly be improved upon. And, the one thing that the company needs to focus on is definitely continuing their track record of good customer service and, doing that, and then hopefully bringing out a really solid next iteration, maybe a DPVR E5. I'm sure that they're already working on it, considering that VR is advancing every single day. Well, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the review, and just know that I am always as honest as I can be in all my reviews, and I have to tell you guys the truth, because if I lie, then you're coming to my channel for no reason. So I had to be honest about the DPVR E4, and like I said, I really enjoyed aspects of this headset. I thought my experience with their team was really amazing, but I just think that there's some things that need to be improved upon, and before I can consciously tell you to go buy it, you just need to be aware of those things. But that being said, do drop a like on today's video, guys. Comment in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.